Uniontown, T-Town, touchdown, Alabama, let's get it.
The process, no one can stop this. Hottest show in the streets, I bet you can't top this. Recruiting news and interviews, just sit back and watch this.
Recruiting news and interviews, just sit back and watch this.
The process.
Hey everyone, welcome into a new episode of The Process, Crimson Tide Recruiting. I am your host, Justin Smith, the scouting and recruiting analyst for Touchdown Alabama. Thank you guys so much for joining me today on our YouTube channel. Be sure to hit the like button, hit the subscribe button as well. If you are already one of our loyal subscribers, hit the notification bell, be notified when we drop content on our YouTube channel. I am here each week to break down the latest in Crimson Tide football recruiting news, of course. And on this episode of The Process, we do have a lot to get to with the Crimson Tide's 2023 four-star wide receiver target Jalen Hale set to announce his commitment on tomorrow. The Crimson Tide's 2023 defensive back target Bryce Thornton is set to announce his commitment in October, and he will actually take an official visit to Alabama on this weekend. We will preview Thornton's commitment and his official visit on this episode as well, and also talk about the Crimson Tide's new 2023 linebacker target out of Tennessee, along with talking about a couple of updates about a couple of key 2024 targets for Alabama in the 2024 recruiting class. So we're going to start right there. We have a lot to get to today, so there's no need to waste any more time. Starting with Kavion Henderson, a 2024 four-star defensive end out of Leeds High School in Leeds, Alabama. He's set to announce his commitment on November 6th. He will choose between the Crimson Tide, the Arkansas Razorbacks, the Auburn Tigers, the Oklahoma Sooners, and the Georgia Bulldogs. Of course, the Crimson Tide are a new school in this recruitment in terms of offering him. They did offer him during this football season, but they have been in contact with him for a couple of years now because he has been on their radar for quite a bit of time. Did not pick up an Alabama offer until recently, until Nick Saban got an opportunity to watch his updated film, and the Crimson Tide's defensive line coach Freddie Roach reached out to him and extended that offer to Kavion Henderson. Had an opportunity to talk with Henderson recently and discuss his interest in Alabama. Of course, some of the things that he said about Alabama, he feels that they have a great program. They will always have a great program and a great defense. I am just blessed because they only offer the best in terms of what he brings to the table. 6'4", 230 pounds. I have watched this kid on several different occasions at a couple of different Under Armour camps, and I've been impressed with this impressive growth over the last couple of years. His frame is really starting to fill out, and that's one of the reasons why he's able to show his strength consistently throughout his film. As you guys can see, he's pushing offensive linemen into the backfield, into the laps of running backs and quarterbacks. So I really like this guy's strength. His versatility, plays well in space, as you guys saw on that last play. Similar to the Crimson Tide's latest defensive lineman commit, Jordan Renaud. He's a versatile defensive lineman who has the potential to play all across the defensive front. You see him rushing from the edge, rushing from the standing up position. You see him rushing as an inline defensive end, basically with his hands on the ground from that 4-point stance. So this guy is a kid who's going to have some position versatility in the future, but he's set to announce his commitment on November 6th. We'll choose between the Arkansas Razorbacks, the Auburn Tigers, Oklahoma Sooners, the Georgia Bulldogs, and also the Alabama Crimson Tide. He will look to take a visit to Alabama during the football season. I will look out most likely for the Texas A&M Alabama game. Who's not going to be at that game if you are an Alabama target and a top recruit? So I expect Alabama to get him on campus at some point during the season, and we'll see if Alabama's potential and their chances to land him will continue to flourish. I think they are in a good position with him at the moment. So Kavion Henderson is a guy to watch out for. Another 2024 defensive lineman to know is 2024 four-star defensive end Jacob Smith out of Loomis Chaffee School in Connecticut, which is the same school the Crimson Tide's current four-star offensive lineman commit Olas Elani attends. But Jacob Smith had an opportunity to get back to Tuscaloosa along with his brother Gerard Smith. Both of them are four-star recruits in the 2024 class. Both hold offers from Alabama. Both feel the Crimson Tide are one of the top schools in their recruitment. But I had an opportunity to talk with Jacob because I want to talk with both of these guys. I know a lot of times when you have twins or brothers in the same class, you want to talk with both of them and make it make it one piece, but I want to separate them quite a bit in this recruiting trail by covering them. So we will have updates from Gerard's perspective, but I had an opportunity to catch up with Jacob recently after he took that visit to Alabama. In his words, he feels that the visit was fire, like all of the visits that they have taken to the University of Alabama. It was their third time. Getting to Tuscaloosa, the first time they got an opportunity to see a game. He said the Walk of Champions was fire. Felt that they were right above it. Of course, when you have a recruit visiting, you get to see Walk of Champions from an upscale view in terms of being on top of everyone and watching the players walk in Bryant-Denny Stadium on the Walk of Champions. In terms of watching Alabama's defense for the first time, he said he feels they are a dominant defense in the SEC. I can see myself playing in something like it. They have a dominant defense that basically can get people developed to play at the next level in terms of the college level and the NFL. As you guys can see, more of an edge rusher, guy who's already 6'4", 240 pounds, so he has a great frame already. Similar to Henderson, you see that power that he can show on plays consistently pushing offensive linemen back, getting off the edge, making some great plays in the backfield. Was able to end the 2021 football season with 7 sacks and 29 tackles for loss. The Crimson Tide really like him basically as an outside linebacker, which is a position that Will Anderson and Dallas Turner currently play for the Crimson Tide. Now let's switch our attention to the Crimson Tide's 2023 recruiting efforts. Starting with the Crimson Tide's 2023 4-star defensive end outside linebacker commit Yhonzae Pierre, who I had an opportunity to see on Friday night, and boy did he impress. I know a lot of people have been talking about this kid because of the fantastic senior season that he's having at Eufaula High School, and I was able to see it live in person. One of the quickest get off first steps that I've seen throughout my time covering Alabama recruiting, so I think that was really impressive. He was aggressive all night, attacking plays that went away from him. I know a lot of people are asking why isn't he in the 5-star conversation. Of course, we rank and rate guys who are verbally committed to Alabama in our own independent recruiting rankings here at Touchdown Alabama, and I would still have him listed as a 4-star at the moment. He does have that explosiveness, great length at 6'4", but he doesn't have a lot of strength in terms of his frame. I think it will definitely add mass, and I think he will definitely benefit from Alabama's strength and conditioning program, and I think that is where he's going to be able to reach his full potential in terms of rushing with more power, being able to just power through blocks a little bit better. We saw that even guys on this episode of The Process. We saw with Kavion Henderson, and also saw it with a guy like Jacob Smith. You saw they were basically powering offensive linemen back. I think that is something that Yhonzae Pierre is going to add to his game in the future with his frame, with them putting on more pounds and more mass to his frame. I think that's going to be something that he's going to benefit from in the future. So we'll still have him listed as a 4-star recruit, but that quick get off was really impressive. Looked as if he was living in the opposing team's backfield. So I think as he grows, continues to get bigger, continues to put on more weight, I think he's going to be an excellent edge rusher at the next level for the University of Alabama. I had an opportunity to catch up with him after the game. He told me that he was very locked in with the Crimson Tide. He's still developing his relationship with the Crimson Tide safeties coach Charles Kelly. Said they have a great relationship. Said Charles Kelly treats him like a son. Kelly was actually at the game as well. Be sure to check out our highlights from that event as you guys are watching now, and also instant analysis in our video on our YouTube at the moment. But we're going to stay with the Crimson Tide's 2023 recruiting efforts and switch our attention to a new linebacker target for the Crimson Tide. I think I've said on a couple of episodes of The Process in the past that Alabama is not done evaluating guys. It's going to be a couple of guys who have big senior seasons and they're going to jump on Alabama's recruiting board. Arion Carter is one of those guys. Going back to the last recruiting cycle, the 2022 cycle, we saw the Crimson Tide's freshman defensive lineman, now Isaiah Hastings, jump onto Alabama's recruiting board along with a couple of teams across the nation once he had a great senior season at Clearwater Academy in Florida. Now Carter is one of those guys. Picked up an offer from Alabama Saturday, also picked up offers from Kentucky, USC, and Tennessee. He's currently verbally committed to the Memphis Tigers, but after he put together a great couple of games in Tennessee, his high school is currently 5-0. He's on a lot of teams' radar at the moment. The Crimson Tide's offensive line coach Eric Wolford reached out to Carter, after he put out that fantastic film, and they arranged a visit to Tuscaloosa, had an opportunity to catch up with Carter after his visit and after his offer. Some of the things he said about getting the offer was it felt amazing. Every recruit in the country wants and pleads for an Alabama offer. The opportunity itself, playing at Alabama, getting an education at Alabama is an opportunity and not all recruits get, and as a whole, it is amazing, especially with the background and history that Alabama has. He talked a lot about Alabama's players and their culture, just spending time with Alabama's players before and after the game in the locker room. He said that he can tell that Alabama players are locked in and they are focused when it comes to a game. And he said that they also seemed very mature, and that's something that he would like to be a part of in the future. In terms of meeting Nick Saban for the first time, he said that Nick Saban is who he appears to be on TV. He's the same guy. He is honest. He's not going to sugarcoat anything. So that's something that Arion Carter really liked about meeting Nick Saban. In terms of his skill set, currently standing at 6'1", weighing approximately 210 pounds. Of course, with that frame, if you want to be a linebacker in the SEC, he's going to need to add some weight to his frame, but Alabama has completely eliminated the weight problem in terms of gaining weight and losing weight, so that will not be a problem if the Crimson Tide do pick him up in the future. But in terms of what he brings to the table and watching that impressive film, this is the film that Alabama, Kentucky, USC, and Tennessee saw that made them want to offer Arion Carter. Okay, you're going to see that speed. First off, on this first play, he's going to come on a blitz and look at that great speed off the edge. Attacks the football, makes a great hit. Another great play. You see that lateral movement, which is something that Nick Saban really liked about Arion Carter, was his lateral movement, his speed, his ability to change direction as well. So he has a unique skill set that the Crimson Tide really like at the inside linebacker position. Also looks really comfortable in pass coverage, which is something I think is really important when it comes to being an inside linebacker in today's game. But Arion Carter is a guy to watch out for moving forward. Wants to take a couple of more visits before he possibly revisits a decision. Again, he's verbally committed to the Memphis Tigers at the moment. The Crimson Tide will host one of their top remaining defensive back targets in Bryce Thornton on this weekend for an official visit. He will be on campus when the Crimson Tide take on Vanderbilt. Of course, Thornton is a 2023 defensive back out of Milton High School in Georgia, currently down to the Gators in the Crimson Tide. The Tide have been building a relationship with Thornton ever since offering him in March. I've gotten him on campus a couple of times, including for camp, which he really impressed. So the Crimson Tide are really interested in Bryce Thornton at the moment. Has a commitment date locked in. He will announce his commitment on October 13th, which is why he pushed up his Alabama official visit date to this weekend. He was originally set to officially visit the University of Alabama when they took on the Texas A&M Aggies in October, but he pushed his official visit date up. But this is a Florida-Alabama battle, which is something we are continuously seeing when it comes to the 2023 recruiting cycle. The Gators and the Crimson Tide are going to be involved in some heated battles moving forward. Thornton is going to be one of those battles, along with Keon Keeley, Kamani McClain, and also the Crimson Tide's target and Gators commit Kelby Collins is another guy to know. But an opportunity to watch Bryce Thornton a little bit during his first game of this particular football season, which is some of the highlights that you guys are watching. You see that he can be a weapon as a returner, a guy who's not afraid to come down and help and run support, make some nice tackles in the open field, nice sides for safety as well. But he's going to be in Tuscaloosa on this weekend and take an official visit. A guy who took an official visit to Alabama earlier this season is Jalen Hale, 2023 four-star wide receiver who's set to announce his commitment on tomorrow. Most likely he's going to come down to Alabama and Texas, which is what I've been saying over the last couple of weeks. He has a great relationship with Alabama's wide receiver coach Holman Wiggins, has a great relationship with Nick Saban as well. Alabama and Texas involved in this heated recruiting battle for the Texas product. I said it was a toss-up the last time I talked about Hale's recruitment. I think it's still a toss-up a couple of, I guess, less than 24 hours away from his decision. As of now, the Texas Longhorns have worked to put themselves in a great position. I know their wide receiver commit, Yhonzae Cook, has done a great job recruiting Hale. I remember them bonding at the Under Armour Future 50 event in Bradenton, Florida, IMG Academy, when I had an opportunity to get down there this summer. They spent a lot of time around one another, seemed to have a great bond. But in terms of what Jalen Hale brings to the table, long, rangy wide receiver at about 6'2", great ball skills, great body control and making contested catches. You see on this particular film, his quarterback does not have the strongest arm, so he does make some throws they are a little bit underthrown, and Jalen Hale has to work back to the play. He does a great job of doing that with his athleticism. I really like the fact that he high points the football, plays in the air. I think a lot of wide receivers now don't play in the air. I think it's some guys who have great speed so they can just speed past guys, but guys who are still able to play in the air are definitely still a threat in football as a whole, at the college football level and at the NFL level, and Jalen Hale is one of those guys set to announce his commitment on tomorrow. I'm not going to make a prediction just yet. I still feel this is a toss-up after the Crimson Tide picked up a commitment from 4-star defensive line Jordan Renaud earlier this week. But that is what I wanted to talk about on this episode of The Process. I did have a lot to get to. We'll be back on the road this weekend to see a couple of Alabama commits and targets and action throughout the weekend. So stay locked in to my Twitter at JDSmith31Smith. Also stay locked into our YouTube channel. I try to post as many shorts and videos as possible throughout the weekend as well. So be sure to hit that like button before you leave. Hit the subscribe button as well. Subscribers, hit the notification bell, be notified when we drop content on our YouTube channel. Then head over to touchdowналabama.com. Pick up your subscription. With that subscription, you will be able to read all of our subscriber-only articles. Then head over to the Google Play Store if you have a Android device to download the Touchdown Alabama app. If you have an Apple device, be sure to download the app in the Apple App Store. As always, I am Justin Smith, the scouting and recruiting analyst for Touchdown Alabama.
Process.